Remember when it was cool to wear your hat like this?
Yes, I do.
This was a heavy look in '97,
I
dude.
was gonna say like mid '90s. This was very popular because my cousin deeply embraced that decision to wear his hat always off to one side.
I tried it once or twice. I learned very, very quickly. This was like this era was kind of this was before this was before the new era.
Okay, all right, I hear what you're saying. I also feel like that particular choice, like there's some fashion choices that just are like, okay, a different generation wears stuff a different way, baggy pants versus tight pants, whatever it might be. But that one, that feels like one that was just designed to agitate. Like there was no
It was
particular.
just to piss off our fathers.
Yeah, it doesn't look any better than wearing your hat normally or backwards, but you knew that everybody over maybe 24 would just be irritated that you wore your hat like that.
It was a great way to get your uncles all riled up at Thanksgiving.
It was
You
just
know?
pure counterculture.
Yeah. And then I learned quickly that the cocked brim was not for me. I was a flat to the front, low, or backwards kind of guy. You
Yeah.
know? Sometimes, actually, I had an era where I did this for a while too.
Just backing off to the side.
Yeah, but now I'm too old for it, so I just go straight back or straight forward.
The backing off to the side is like a little less abrasive than the front and off to the side, because at least like once the hat's backwards, you're admitting you're not trying to accomplish anything with the brim as far as blocking light or whatever. So if it's backwards and twisted, that's whatever.
Sometimes when I'm feeling thuggish, I'll still do it for a brief moment until I remember that I'm a 38-year-old middle class construction worker,
That's
and then I straighten it right out.
that's your version of my grandfather putting his hands in his pockets, because that meant that he was trying to hold off beating the shit out of you, so you better get control of yourself. So when the kids see you turn the hat, they know, all right, we've
All
played
right,
a little
Dad's
too hard here.
Dad's thugging a little bit. Let's calm down now. That gentleman that I am sitting across the internet from is Big Worm, and you could call me Craig because I got fired on my day off.
I got my chili Cheetos. Let's go.
Listen to this one. Did I tell you about the window job that I got?
No.
All right. So we got to rewind since it's been a few weeks.
It has.
We only have 40 minutes or less this evening, so we got to squeeze in a lot of things. If you started watching, this is going to be a hammer of an episode.
All right, let's go.
So I get a call to do a drywall repair. Cousin Randy calls me. He says, "Yo, it's a Saturday morning at about 9 o'clock. I was messing with the bikes, organizing the garage, doing Saturday dad stuff, right?" He says, "Yo, you want to go do a drywall repair? It's not even really a repair. You just got to rip a piece down, put it in the trash, clean up. Get $300. It'll take you about an hour."
Sure.
So he sends me the pictures to let me know that it's official, because it ain't real if you don't send me a picture.
Right.
I say, "Yeah, make it happen, dude. I'm there."
I'm in.
So I go over to this job. I pull up. Dude has a 2014 Chevy Silverado sitting on some wheels.
All
I
right.
go, interesting. Looks a whole lot like my truck in Champaign.
Okay.
I look a little closer. There's a Yamaha YZ 250 in the garage. There's a couple of quads in there. There's a big stereo. I go, I think I like this guy.
He's checking off boxes.
He's of the tribe.
Right.
And so I knock on the door. Guy with a faux hawk, a thick silver chain, and covered in tattoos answers the door.
All right.
And I go, usually I don't trust the silver chain guy, dude. They're too shifty.
Okay.
You know, if a guy, I've never met a guy in a silver. Listen, and even the silver chain guys that I like, I got a silver chain guy across the street from me. I like him a lot.
All right.
But you can't trust the silver chainsman as far as you could throw him.
Okay.
Shake this guy's hand. He's got a good firm handshake.
Like a man.
Yeah, he was a man. You know, he was for all intents and purposes, he appeared to be of the male species.
Gotcha.
You never know, though. 2024.
Sure.
So I say, "Sir, may I call you that?" Or, I start working. This guy's right in the mix with me, handing me tools, picking up trash. I got a trash bag. There's probably a tarp in the garage. Let me go check. I'm like, "Dude, you're all over this." He was like, yeah, well, I'm a worker myself. I'm not going to sit here while somebody works in my house and watch you.
All right, I
I said,
appreciate
well,
that.
usually I'd prefer that you do, but you seem to know what you're doing and you're a hell of a helper. Let's keep going. So I'm talking to this guy, shooting the breeze. His birthday was the day after mine. He's got an 8-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son, and he moved from Ohio down here. Had a little bit of he definitely had a couple of jail tattoos. We didn't get into that till later, but he definitely did a state-funded vacation or two.
All right.
So as I'm talking to this guy, I just kind of mentioned in conversation, I'm like, yeah, really what I'd like to get involved with is hurricane windows, because my cousin's telling me that they're charging like $500 in labor per window.
Jesus.
And that's
all right.
about an hour and a half worth of work if everything's good.
Yeah,
Maybe it's 2.5. Maybe on a tough window it's 2.5 hours worth of work. But
Even
there's
still,
bread
that's
there.
good number. Yeah.
He goes, really? You're trying to get involved in windows? I'm like, yeah, try to figure it out. He goes, well, that's what I do is windows. So how about this? I got a kid working with me who's my partner, and he ain't shit. I said, okay.
All right.
That's usually 22-year-old kids on a job site ain't really shit, so
Yeah.
I understand it. He's telling me all about the headaches this kid's causing him, and he goes, I'm going to talk to my supervisor and see if we can get you running with us because they pay piecework. So
Okay.
they're paying you per window. They're probably charging the customer $500 per window, and then they're paying the guys $200 per window to install them, $350 for a door, $400 for slider panels. They had a whole price list. I go, well, that seems pretty sweet. How many, what's the day look like? He said, dude, if you know what you're doing, like I think you know what you're doing, we're going to hit a bunch of $500 and $600 days.
That's the kind of day you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I said, sure, dude. Call me, let me know. I don't hear from him. And I just kind of go, guys like to talk. Guy
Sure.
had a silver chain on, probably just likes to talk.
That faux hawk is catching up with him.
Yeah. And then he calls me the day after he said he was going to. And he goes, oh, dude, sorry. I got tied up, whatever. You want to come in tomorrow? You can come run with us. I said, yeah, dude. I'm there.
Yeah.
Now, the headache was that it's 2 hours worth of driving to get to. You got to drive to the shop and then to the job site, and it's a total of about 2 hours worth of driving. But for $600 a day, I'll drive 4 hours back and forth.
Yeah.
That's a $3,000 a week, Dad. You're damn right. I'll drive.
You have to go to the shop
Forward.
first. There's no way around it.
Well, since I was the new guy, I hadn't tried to figure out a way around it yet.
That's fair.
I figured I'm going to come in here, and I'm seeing how these guys work, and then at some point I'll be able to like tweak the system so that it works better for me and for us.
Right.
Because the kid was worthless. He was drinking all the time. He was drunk all the time, literally.
All right.
We found 4 Locos in the work truck. He didn't even bother to hide it. You know what I mean? And he's doing shit like he crashed another work truck. He's breaking windows on the way to the job site.
All right.
Nice kid. I got no problem with the kid. He's a nice kid, but he was just, I can see why they didn't like it.
He wasn't disciplined enough.
No, he was a kid.
Yeah.
He's a kid being a kid. I can't. God knows the things that I was doing to my crew when I was a 20-year-old kid. I was stealing their tools. You know what I mean? Like,
Didn't you
I was way worse off than he was.
Didn't you take their van to trial and then get it locked up with you?
Yeah, that did happen. I definitely lost the work van at one point in a courtroom. So, the first day, dude, we hang out with our wang out, dude. Bang out a $580 day.
All right.
For everybody, for all 3 of us, each got $580. I'm like, man,
that's a solid day.
If we're rocking and rolling like this, I'm gonna be rich, though. I'm gonna get that $350. I'm gonna get that Chevy 3500 with the Duramax engine.
There you go.
The next day we did $450.
Okay.
Next day we did $400.
All right.
A day after that, it wound up being $350.
Uh-oh.
Until we got to a $320 day, and we still had to come the next day for like a half hour in the morning. And I'm like, yo, I got an elbow injury, which I do. My elbow was, I don't know if you could see it. Hold on, where's the camera?
Bring it in a little bit. There you go. That's like 2 elbows there.
Yeah, it's all weird looking.
Yeah, what'd you do?
So that was what I think it was from carrying 300-pound windows.
Oh, all right. That makes sense.
I'm not sure, but that seems to be what aggravated it, and I
Right.
can't get it back to normal now. I'm not on performance-enhancing drugs right now because of my fasting, so I think maybe if I was on some PEDs, my body would have healed
It would have helped.
quicker.
It would have helped you out.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. So the second day that I'm on the site, the supervisor shows up. And this job had everything that I would need to accept a job from somebody else, to work for somebody else. You know what I mean? Piecework pay, relatively easy work,
A little bit of autonomy.
outside. Yeah, the money's right. Like, it had all the things that I will sign up for. My very exclusive list of things that I would accept for working for somebody was all there until the supervisor showed up, and he is the worst kind of dickhead that the worst kind of guy, right? You know me, bro. You know me, bro.
I do.
I'm ready to give anybody a chance at friendship and respect. We've talked about this. I lead with respect.
Yeah.
This is the kind of guy who does not lead with respect. He's like you got no idea who I am, cuz. You know what I mean? You don't know that I ran my own company. You don't know that I've got 20 years in the game.
Right.
You don't, maybe, or I'm a nobody and I just came out of jail for 20 years and this is my first job that I've ever had as an adult. So fine. You don't know me either way.
Right.
But lead with respect. And he comes, walks behind me, watches me caulk in a window, doesn't say shit to me, and I know who he is, but he doesn't know I know who he is, so I don't address him. If you're not going to say something to me, if you're not going to talk to me, maybe you're that kind of supervisor.
Right.
So fine. He goes inside, tells the kid to come outside and tell me what I'm doing wrong, and it fucking lights me on fire, dude. I'm like, you fruit cup. You were standing right next to me, and you couldn't just say, "Oh, hey, brother, I'm so and so. Look, let me just show you something real quick. This is how we do it here."
Right.
Like the level of disrespect that I feel when a guy does that sets me on fire, dude.
He can't talk directly to you.
Yo, I was so fired up that I started talking filthy to the guys about him. I don't know. These guys could have been his best buds. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this friggin' dork. I used some more choice words. I used some heavier words.
Use construction site words.
I'm like, what kind of grown man has a Captain America tattoo on his elbow? You fucking comic book nerd coming onto a job site. I've been doing this for 20 years. You've been pushing paper for the past 10, and you want to come and give me shit? And you can't even have the respect to give me the shit to my face. You have somebody else. You get some drunk 22-year-old Mexican kid to come tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Right.
Not that the Mexican part matters. I love mi raza. I love mi gente.
I'm well aware.
But dude, I was so heated. So anyway, I go home thinking to myself,
that's it.
I don't know if I could do it. Yeah, I don't know if I could do it, dude.
Right.
I can't deal with this kind of guy. This is the kind of guy who I had to deal with at when we were framing Wawas that got me fired for having to deal with this kind of guy because I don't deal with the game shit. Like, let's be men, and if you have a problem, you bring it to me. I'm not going to fight. What am I going to do? Yell at you or fight you or beat you up?
Right.
No, I'm going to talk to you about whatever the issue is, whether I agree with it or not. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go, all right, brother, sorry. I'll address it. You won't have to worry about it again.
Yeah,
because
we can figure something out.
I understand my position. Yeah, I understand my position here, and I'll play for that kind of money. I'll play the guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'll play the bottom guy on the totem pole. I don't care. Sometimes the bread, will let me be disrespected.
Right.
So that goes the next day or a couple of days later, I'm still working, and I kind of put it in my head. I'm like, forget that guy. You don't got to deal with him. He's obviously a loser because he don't know how to install. Otherwise, he'd be installing instead of pushing paper. So, dust it off. And my boy Mark, who brought me in,
this is Marcus Silverchain?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was also kind of like, yeah, that dude's a fagula. You know what I mean? Don't even, whatever. everybody hates him. He don't bother me, but I'm like, yeah, I can see why everybody hates him. He's a dork.
Right.
And I would love to run into him again. You know, there's a couple of guys in my life that I would love to. Officer Kosha, Scott Kennedy, and Brad with the Captain America tattoo. I would like to just bump into him in a Wawa parking lot.
Just randomly
Just
at
to
the
have a
Publix.
chat. Yeah. Just to have a chat, because they were all in positions of like where I couldn't really say much to them at the time.
Right.
But now it's like, now what are you hiding behind? You maggot, you know?
You don't got your clipboard now, son.
Yeah. So I get the next day, the couple days go by. They're like, we had to go back for literally 30 minutes of work. I'm like, look, if all three of us don't have, I'll be glad to come back with you guys, or I'm going to go to the doctor and get my elbow checked out.
Right.
Because at this point, it was like swollen out to here, and it probably should have been checked out. I didn't go to the doctor and get it checked out, but that was the plan.
Right.
I was not lying to the boys. I did plan on doing it. So they're like, nah, don't worry about it. We're going to be here for 30 minutes and then we're done. And then we're going to go back to the shop and we're going to figure out what the next project is so we can get to work.
Okay.
Like, all right, cool. I get a call that afternoon from Silver Chain, and he goes, yo, they're saying that there's no other project for us right now. They sent the kid home with his tools. They told him bring his tools. They pretty much fired him. And I don't know when it's looking like we're going to have work again. I'm like, damn, bro, you got me fired on my day off, which
shouldn't have taken those cardboard boxes with you.
I shouldn't have stole the boxes. So I get fired on my day off, but then the next day, cousin Randy says he's got some work for me. So we've been rocking and rolling there. And then I ran into Mark because he lives in the next town over, and he's like, no, I think you're coming back. It's just a matter of like when they have a project. And I'm like, all right, well, if I'm not working and you give me a call, then sure, I'd be glad to come back and run with you.
Right.
But also, I'm not going to be too upset if I don't ever get that call back.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't like dealing with that kind of guy.
Not for that kind of money. Unless it's first day money every day, that it's not in your constitution to deal with that guy. Right.
When it was at $3,000 a week, I'll deal with whatever you throw at me.
Right.
At a regular paycheck, I mean, I'm making more than $300 on my own job.
Yeah, you can do that yourself without the headache.
Exactly. Well, yeah. There's just different headache. At least I'm in control. Because like the other thing is like I'm at the reason that our Monday started dwindling was not really fault of our own. Like the warehouse guys set us up with the wrong order. Okay. So now we were supposed to put in 7 windows today, but they gave us 3 of the wrong windows. So now we can only put in 4.
Gotcha.
And then that, so it was all stuff like that was like out of my control.
Right.
Of if I made a big day or had a weekday. So, we'll see. I was thinking about this the other day. And why was I thinking about it? Somebody's old and falling apart, and I don't remember who it is. Oh, my wife was talking about maybe getting a job helping old people.
Okay.
I said, well, why don't you have the baby first, and then we'll figure out the job thing. Just let daddy take care of it for now.
Right.
And then I started thinking about, like, when I get old, right? And there's going to come a time when I'm in my 110s, maybe 110s if I'm lucky, where I'm going to have somebody feeding me and sponge bathing me and maybe, sadly enough, wiping my posterior.
Yep.
And I thought, that's no way to, not a guy like me, bro. Guy like me, not a way to live.
It's not a way for anybody to live at all. I think about this a lot, especially lately, because I got a lot of people around me passing away, and they're older people. And so like, I think about that a lot, being in that position of like somebody's first thought is always like, I'm going to be the one wind up do this for my mom, which I don't want to be doing in the first place. And then at some point, someone's going to have to do it for me. And I don't want that part of it either. So, but I don't know like what you do instead besides, the Kevorkian method.
I'm going to tell you, because I've thought through this a little bit. You wind up being an old white dude in the middle of North Camden, pleading with a Puerto Rican teenager to just front you a few bags on the arm.
Okay.
so that you can hang it up. And then I thought of the vision of like me, mad, crippled with a cane and no money in my pocket because they won't give me money or car keys because I got dementia.
Right. Ooh,
And I'm telling this 15-year-old Spanish thugster, like, yo, bro, I'm in my day, I was out here with you boys. I'm
just
telling you,
just put me
look
on
here,
consignment.
I gotta tell you, help an old man end the misery.
Right.
Just help me end the misery, young buck. You know, I thought that was kind of funny to think of, you know,
I think that's a solid
that
move.
interaction.
I think that's a solid move. Get yourself on consignment, and then don't pay it off, and then just wait to be caught up with.
Well, no. I'm looking for the first one to end it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like set it up for yourself so you have like a couple days of joy with whatever you have on consignment, and then somebody comes in the back of your head since you didn't pay off, and just that's it. Now you don't got to worry about
That's
nothing.
one way to work. I figured I was just going to end it by sniffing some fentanyl.
Okay, well there's that too. I mean that's obviously very effective.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And from what I could tell, probably pretty painless.
It seems like it. Yeah.
It would be a good way for us to register the death penalty.
With fentanyl?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they do usually, it's supposed to be painless. It's like a 3 injection process, but fentanyl might be faster.
It's a 1 injection process.
You know what the move, here's what the move should be, right? You go on the death row and they get the heroin from a local dealer. They don't know which heroin they're getting, whether they're getting the good stuff or the mixed stuff. If you wind up with the mixed stuff, you're dead. If you don't wind up with the mixed stuff, you're free.
I like it, dude.
You survive. Survive the shot.
A little Bodiqua roulette.
One last opportunity to live a life.
I like it, dude. Did I tell you about? I don't think I did because it's in my notes. So let me tell you about this one.
Move a little bit to put. Yep,
this way.
Yep.
Center me. I got you. Let's talk kids for a little bit.
Love to.
Give you a quick kid story and then a couple of other kid things.
All right.
So the other morning, being the filthy blue collar ex-convict dad that I am, we're in the kitchen and I ripped the old barking spider, right? I let a barking spider fly across the kitchen. And the kids both look at me and go, ew. I'm like, that wasn't me. I didn't claim it. I go, that wasn't me. And I look at Buddy who's staring at me because Sadie's staring at me. And I go, you did it, dude. You farted. And he goes, farted. I'm like, not me, dude. You farted. And he looks me square in the eyes. A little vein pops out of his head and he squeezes out a fart on me, dude. I'm like, yo, you just jumped up to the coolest dude I've ever met in my life, bro. Respect.
He's got daddy as an inspiration. That's all.
Oh, dude, it was hilarious. It was one of the funniest things. He does a lot of funny things, but that one was top tier humor, dude.
That's awesome.
Universally, kids like being trapped under a blanket by their uncles.
I think I agree with that statement. I'm only an uncle to a few, so I haven't really tested it out much. But I think
from dads too.
I think that's a proper statement. Yes.
Yeah. Now this is not. We didn't have a meeting, like a coalition of dad meeting, and go like, "Hey, look, once our kids get to be, age where they're walking." We want to make sure everybody's throwing a blanket over top of their head,
right,
picking them up, and then slamming them on the couch.
Yeah, that wasn't in the workbook.
But this just universally happens to be a thing that I'm pretty sure all dads do to their kids.
I think dads go through a particular phase where they're trying to find the intersection of trapping the kid and the kid laughing about it and not being upset by it. Because then it eases your burden of having to watch them. You throw the blanket over them, you tuck them down. You got a couple minutes there where they're not really moving fast and quick. But they're laughing about it. So that's perfect. So yeah, I think all the dads have that sort of instinct to find a way to slow the kid down, but not upset the kid while you're doing it.
See, I don't think that I'm trying to slow them down. I think it's more of a torture thing for me.
Okay.
There's like a little bit. There's like a little bit of an evil villain. Like as a dad, you have to play the evil villain
Oh yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
You know
You got to put the weight on them.
whether that be taking the tablet from your kid after they've been on it for an hour.
Right.
Then they think you're the evil villain, even though you're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's like tickling them till they can't breathe,
Right.
and then tickling them a little bit more, and then letting them breathe.
Or hiding behind the wall and scaring the shit out of them as they come by.
Yeah, there's got to be a little bit to be a good father. There's got to be a little bit of torture in your repertoire.
Yeah.
And so I think that the blanket thing is kind of like a little torture thing that we like to do. But why do all the kids love it? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know why they would enjoy it. Like mathematically, it doesn't make sense, but they definitely do. So kids don't make sense. You can't try to make sense out of a fucking child's brain.
Fair enough. It's just an extension of the wrestling pillow concept. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just another step there.
Yeah.
What's our time look like?
We got about 10, 12 minutes.
All right, we're keeping it short today.
Yeah, keep it tight.
I have another thing to touch on, but we're keeping it, 40 or less on the gig light until we get full speed here.
Right.
So I get a call. From the Jedi.
Okay.
Friend of the show. He tells me he's trying to think of different puns using Riz.
Okay.
So like, what are you, Aristotle?
Right.
Or
right.
Christopher Wallace.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, well, where the hell did that come from? So he goes, well, my son is trying to tell me that he's a Riz master.
He's got the top Riz.
I said, how old's your son? He was like, oh, he's 12. No, I didn't say how old's your son because I know how old his son is. He's 12. And I started dying. I said, yo. He was like, yeah, my son told me that he's got the best Riz and he out-Rizzes his buddy and this, that. I'm like, that's pretty good, dude. You know what I told my mom when I was 12? I said, Ma, girls like me because I got game. You wouldn't understand it.
Right.
Which the exact words that came out of the Jedi son's mouth were, I got Riz. You wouldn't understand.
You don't get it, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny to see the little boys still think that they're the man.
Right. We had this conversation offline, and so I went and I asked my son about where he ranks his Riz, and
how does he feel about his Riz?
He was a very confident 1. he I appreciate it about him. He knows who he is. He knows what he's got to offer, and he's not. I'm not really. I don't really need Riz right now because I'm just trying to play video games. I'm not interested in talking to too many of these girls. They're annoying. He's got this.
That should change pretty soon, though.
According to the doctor, I got about 2 years. He's a little behind the curve in that regard. But he's got this one girl who pops up in his Fortnite group, and her name's like Amber or something like that. And he doesn't like her, like in reality. If we go to school and she's there, he will be on the other side of the room. He does not like her at all. He thinks she's such a pain in the ass. So we're listening, and we can hear that he's playing. She's in the game. So he comes downstairs and was like, sounds like you're playing with Amber. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, but you don't like her. Why is she in the group? He goes, well, we put her on the opposing team, and then I can keep shooting her in the face, so that's good. It's like, all right, that's good work. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, from everything I could tell, he's soaking up the game from you.
Yeah, he's walking in my shadow, and that's not necessarily the best place to be. I know my shortcomings, and I'm trying to get him past those shortcomings, but it's kind of hard when I have like the blueprints there. I'm trying.
And I can only imagine that he is the way that I see Buddy at not even yet 2 years old, soak up and like act the ways that he's the 2-year-old version of me. I can only imagine that Al is highly confident and very sociable.
He actually is. he's very fortunate that he got that piece from his mom, that he is very comfortable in a room full of strangers. He does not seem to have a problem with it. He's been in like the school play and he wants to keep being in the school plays and stuff like that. Like he's got that over me at that age for sure. Like I didn't want nothing to do with nobody. And he's very confident. And then that gets mixed in with like my sarcasm and my assholery. And it's a pretty solid mix.
That makes for a good, solid guy.
It does. I think he's going to do all right for himself because he doesn't have the social anxiety that I definitely have displayed over the course of my life.
Well, I don't want to be the guy to tell you this, but we're buds, so I gotta make I gotta keep it funky with you.
Of course.
I can see exactly why he's not worried about talking to the girls. He's in the school play, cuz.
Oh, I get what you're saying there, but no, because I'll tell you the counterpoint to that.
All right, counterpoint.
According to the kids, the best looking girls are in the play, and he's usually playing opposite of them. So he's weaseling his way in with the right crowd. But I get what you're saying, and I'm not opposed to that being the reality either. But
I'm not opposed to the reality.
No, I mean, like I'm not. No, there's no way. But the fact that he's in the play is I get why you think that, but also he's always teamed up with what they think are the good-looking girls in class. So maybe he is playing it right, and I'm just not realizing it.
Here's my counterpunch. I, at about 8 or 9 years old, was in dance class.
Okay.
And the sole purpose that I started early. My first girlfriend was Teddy in preschool, followed by Elena Ciccatelli in kindergarten, and then Andrea Ford on and off through elementary school. Until I got to Jess Cohen, who was the first girl I kissed in the 4th grade. So I've been dealing with babes for a long time, bro. And at 8 years old, my mom wanted me to be in dance class. I wanted no parts of it. Until like the 3rd class when we partnered up with girls to learn a routine. And then I kept coming back. I can't remember the girl's name, but she was an 8-year-old babe, and so I continued to show up at dance class because there was a babe holding my hand while I tap danced.
So the one girl in his class has been in his class since kindergarten. And in like 1st grade, she came up to him and she said, "Listen, you go ahead and date whoever you want to date for now, and we'll just get married later on when we're older." So he's already got that lined up for himself. It's just a matter of getting to that gap.
Well, you want to make sure you play the field a little bit before before you settle down by 6th grade or whatever.
Get a couple experiences under your belt before you finish up.
Yeah, you definitely want to be ready to settle down by middle school, though, for sure.
You have to. There's no point in going on past that.
All right. Jabos and Mesquite are coming back. I think we've discussed that.
Yeah, everything old is new again. It's all circling back around.
What I would like to bring back around is not a fashion item at all.
Okay.
It's a phrase that we once used in, when parting with your friends.
All right.
Or hanging up the phone. And we will leave you with this phrase. Before I leave you with this phrase, I'd like to remind you that we're going to be here pretty much every Wednesday night, although it may get rocky because I am going to New Jerusalem for the last 2 weeks of April. So, but we'll be here next week on Wednesday. And we're, tell a friend to tell a friend that it's the gig again. What's our thing? Our thing is at the gig, you always got a +1, and your +1
has a +1.
So I won. What's up with the funk? Did you make this? No, you can't stop me from talking about the funk. You can't shush me from talking about the funk. If it's funky, I'm on a